He wore a dusty uniform, clocked in through the back gate, and no one knew his last name was Kingston. He swept floors, stood in shadows, and every woman who passed ignored him. Except one. She offered him coffee, not knowing he owned the building she worked in. And in that moment, a billionaire disguised as a poor security guard found something he had never known before: genuine love. Welcome back to ZITA'S story, my beloved family. Today is more than an event. It's a celebration of something deeper. Just like the story you heard moments ago, we are reminded that status means nothing when sincerity is missing. That truth is more powerful than titles, and that real connection happens when hearts are seen, not just names. Whether you're joining us as a guest, a speaker, or a friend, I want you to know that you are not just here to fill a seat. You are here because your presence matters. Just like Eva saw the man behind the uniform, we see the greatness in each of you beyond your job titles, backgrounds, or expectations. Today, let's challenge ourselves to look beyond appearances, to honor honesty over performance, to remember that love, real love, whether in business, friendship, or relationship, only thrives in truth. As we begin today's program, I encourage you to connect deeply, listen intentionally, and most importantly, be authentic. Who knows? Like Nathan and Eva, this room could be the beginning of your own unexpected story. Once again, welcome. Let the transformation begin. The heir in hiding. Nathaniel Kingston could afford anything: cars, penthouses, even islands. At 29, he was heir to Kingston Enterprises, a billion-dollar construction empire. The only thing he didn't have was genuine love. Every woman he dated either wanted the brand, the wealth, or the bragging rights. His father, Arthur Kingston, the stern but wise patriarch, had been pressuring him to settle down, not just to protect the family image, but because Arthur was dying. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. He had less than 6 months. "I want to see you with someone who loves you for you, Nate," Arthur told him one evening from the garden bench behind their estate. "Not for Kingston Towers. Not for the jets or the cars. You need someone who'll stand with you even when you have nothing." Nathan stared at the man who'd built an empire from scratch. His heart squeezed. "I don't know how to find her, Dad. Everyone sees the billions before they see me." Arthur sighed, placing a frail hand on Nathan's shoulder. Then maybe it's time she didn't see the billions at all. And so the plan was born. Nathan would disguise himself as a regular man. No designer suits, no sleek cars. For 3 months, he'd work as a lowly security guard at one of the company's sites. He met someone who could love him in that disguise, then maybe she was the one. A new life begins. On a chilly Monday morning, Nathan arrived at Kingston Enterprises' new office complex in downtown Los Angeles. Dressed in a faded blue uniform with his ID tag reading Nate K. He looked like any other rookie on the payroll. No one recognized him. The beard helped. So did the cheap haircut and beat-up boots. At the security post, he met Marlon, a middle-aged former Marine who took his job seriously. "You're new, huh? You look soft. You ever work nights?" Nathan shook his head. "No, sir." "Sir," Marlon scoffed. "I like you already. Let's see if you survive a week." Building D gets spooky after 10. By day 2, Nathan already knew everyone's schedule, including the coffee habits of the lady who would change everything. Her name was Eva Rodriguez, a junior architect with wild curls, worn-out sneakers, and the kind of laugh that made you forget the world. She greeted every staff member with the same kindness, even the janitor with trembling hands. When she smiled at Nate on day 3, it felt like the sun had pierced through the gray Los Angeles clouds. "Hey, you're new here, right?" "Nate, yeah." He nodded. "Yeah. Security. I'm Eva. Nice to meet you. You want some coffee?" "I always bring too much." Nathan blinked. No woman had ever offered him coffee without expecting something in return. Sure. Thanks." She handed him a cup with 2 sugars and no cream. "I guessed. You seem like a 2 sugar no cream type." He sipped it and laughed. She was right. And so it began. Coffee and questions. Over the next few weeks, Eva and Nate's coffee breaks became a routine. She'd stop by before heading to her desk, and they'd chat about books, street art, and the meaning of success. Eva never once asked about his past, his income, or where he lived. She never cared. All she knew was that Nate listened like no one else, and that his eyes lit up when she spoke about her late grandmother who inspired her to be an architect. One day, they sat under the stairs during lunch. Eva held a sandwich in one hand and gestured with the other as she spoke. "I used to think I'd marry rich, you know? Prince Charming, penthouse, the works. I don't know anymore. Money changes people. Sometimes it hides monsters." Nathan tilted his head. "You ever dated someone rich?" She nodded. "Once. Broke my heart. Wanted me to quit my job. Look pretty," he said. Like being a woman meant sitting still and smiling for Instagram. Nathan frowned. "That's not love." She looked at him then. "No, it's not. I want someone real. Even if he wears a uniform and earns a small salary. As long as he's honest." Nathan's heart thundered. Was she real? Was this the kind of woman his father meant? But he had to be careful. The more he fell, the more dangerous the lie became. Trouble brews. It wasn't all sunshine. Kevin Miller, the arrogant project manager, took notice of Eva's frequent chats with Nate. Kevin had a thing for Eva, and a history of bullying lower staff. "Rodriguez," Kevin barked during one team meeting. "Maybe if you spent less time flirting with security, you'd have submitted the 3D renders by now." Eva flushed, embarrassed but firm. "The renders are done. And Nate is more respectful than most of the people in this room." Kevin sneered. "Let's see how respectful he is when I report him for fraternizing on duty." Nathan had to restrain himself. He wanted to punch Kevin, but poor security guards couldn't afford lawsuits. Later that evening, as Eva stormed down the steps in tears, Nathan followed her outside. "You okay?" She wiped her face. "He's a jerk. He thinks just because he's got a suit, he owns the place. You shouldn't let him get to you." She looked at him. "I won't. Because people like you remind me that character still matters." Nathan felt like the ground beneath his boots vanished. How would she feel when she learned who he truly was? Trouble brews. It wasn't all sunshine. Kevin Miller, the arrogant project manager, took notice of Eva's frequent chats with Nate. Kevin had a thing for Eva, and a history of bullying lower staff. "Rodriguez," Kevin barked during one team meeting. "Maybe if you spent less time flirting with security, you'd have submitted the 3D renders by now." Eva flushed, embarrassed but firm. "The renders are done. And Nate is more respectful than most of the people in this room." Kevin sneered. "Let's see how respectful he is when I report him for fraternizing on duty." Nathan had to restrain himself. He wanted to punch Kevin, but poor security guards couldn't afford lawsuits. Later that evening, as Eva stormed down the steps in tears, Nathan followed her outside. "You okay?" She wiped her face. "He's a jerk. He thinks just because he's got a suit, he owns the place. You shouldn't let him get to you." She looked at him. "I won't. Because people like you remind me that character still matters." Nathan felt like the ground beneath his boots vanished. How would she feel when she learned who he truly was? Chapter 5. The truth revealed. 3 months passed. Nathan's father was getting worse. The doctors said he wouldn't see Summer. "Nathan," Arthur said from his hospital bed. "Is she the one?" Nathan nodded. "She is." "Then tell her the truth. If she's real, she'll forgive you." The next morning, Nathan didn't wear his security uniform. Instead, he walked into the building in a black tailored suit, looking like the man he truly was. Everyone stared. He stepped into the architecture wing where Eva sat hunched over a drawing. When she looked up, her coffee slipped from her hand and shattered on the floor. "Nate, I'm not just a guard. My full name is Nathaniel Kingston." Her mouth opened then closed. "Kingston. As in?" He nodded. "That's my father's company. I came here undercover, to see if I could find someone who loved me for me. Tears welled in her eyes, not out of awe but betrayal. You lied to me. I never lied about how I felt. Everything else was real. Every conversation, every smile, every coffee. But you weren't honest, Nate. You made me fall for someone who didn't exist. She walked out before he could explain more. Redemption. Weeks passed. Nathan resigned from his temporary role and disappeared from the site. Rumors swirled, and Kevin bragged about being promoted, until he was fired for harassing junior staff. Eva missed Nate more than she wanted to admit. Despite the lie, she knew what they had was real. His touch, his words, his laughter, it was all true. Then one morning she received a letter. Not an email. A real handwritten letter. Dear Eva, I never believed in soulmates until I met you. I wore a uniform because I wanted to strip away everything fake. But in doing that I became a liar. And for that I'm truly sorry. I'm not asking you to forgive me now. I just want you to know that if you ever believe in me again, I'll be waiting, this time with no lies. Love. The letter made her cry all night. A week later, she walked into a gala hosted by Kingston Enterprises. She was invited to accept an award for her architectural design. When she walked on stage, she saw him, standing among executives in a black tuxedo, his eyes never leaving hers. After the event, they met in the rose garden behind the building. You came, he whispered. I did. I'm not hiding anymore, he said. And I won't ask you to forget what I did. But I will spend every day proving that the man you loved in uniform is still the man you're seeing now. Eva stepped closer. Then start proving it. With coffee tomorrow? Nathan laughed. 2 sugars. No cream. She smiled. Exactly. And for the first time in his life, Nathan Kingston felt rich. Not because of the billions in his bank account, but because of the woman standing in front of him. The Cost of Truth. Chapter 7. Building Love from the Rubble. The next morning, Nathan waited nervously by a small cafe in downtown LA. No bodyguards. No limo. Just a billionaire with a humble heart and a single red rose. At 8:45 a.m. sharp, Eva arrived. She wore her favorite jeans and a blue top. Her curls bounced with every step. I hope you didn't wait long, she said, sliding into the seat across from him. Nathan smiled. I've waited longer for this chance. Their coffee came. She didn't speak at first, just sipped in silence while watching him closely. I'm here because I want to understand, she said eventually. Why would someone like you go through all that trouble? You could have dated models. Married any heiress. He nodded. I could. And I tried. But none of them saw me. They saw Kingston. Jets. The Empire. But you, he paused. You asked about my favorite book, not my father's company. You offered coffee before knowing my name. You defended me when others mocked me. Eva looked down. But you still lied. I did, Nathan admitted. And I hate myself for it. I should have told you the truth when I knew I loved you. But I was scared. Scared that the truth would end everything. She tilted her head. And now, I'm more scared of losing you than I am of losing control. There was a long pause. I'm not saying I trust you completely yet, she said. But I missed you. Nathan's heart soared. He reached across the table, gently taking her hand. Let's start from where we left off. Only truth this time. She nodded, her fingers wrapping around his love tested. Nathan tried to integrate his 2 worlds, one of boardrooms and billion-dollar deals, the other of simple dates and late-night texts with Eva. But it wasn't easy. The media soon found out. Paparazzi followed Eva home. Gossip blogs labeled her a gold digger. One headline read, Security Girl Snags Billionaire Bachelor. Cinderella or Schemer? Eva threw her phone on the couch, tears welling up. They think I'm sleeping my way into your inheritance. Nathan held her shoulders. Let them talk. You know the truth. It doesn't feel like enough. The pressure intensified when Arthur Kingston, now bedridden and surrounded by doctors, summoned Eva privately. She sat across from the frail man, her nerves rattling. "Eva," Arthur began, "I never thought my son would find love. Not genuine love. But he sees it in you." She hesitated. "I'm not sure I deserve him." "You're the first woman he ever fought to be honest for," Arthur said softly. "The money, the company, it's just dust if there's no love. You gave him something I couldn't. Don't let the world scare you away." Tears slid down her cheeks. "I just don't want to ruin him. You're the only thing saving him." The threat. But love, even real love, invites jealousy. Kevin Miller, now disgraced and unemployed, wanted revenge. Through a former colleague, he accessed confidential information. Eva's old college loans, her parents' bankruptcy records, her brother's criminal past. Then came the leak. A mysterious anonymous post appeared on a scandal blog. "She's not who she claims to be. Check her background. Felon in the family. Deep debts. She targeted Kingston on purpose. Proof attached." The post went viral. Eva's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. The press surrounded her apartment. Reporters camped outside her work. A protester even held a sign outside Kingston HQ. "Gold diggers out." Eva collapsed in tears. "I can't do this anymore." Nathan rushed to her side. "I'll make it stop." But she shook her head. "They're not attacking you, they're attacking me. My past, my family. I didn't sign up for this." "I did," Nathan said firmly. "And I'm not letting go." He called an emergency press conference the next morning. Before a wall of microphones and flashing cameras, he stood tall. "My name is Nathaniel Kingston, and I'm in love with Eva Rodriguez." Murmurs filled the room. "She didn't chase me. I chased her. She didn't seduce me. I lied to her first. And if anyone wants to attack her, they'll have to go through me." He paused, emotion cracking his voice. "My wealth doesn't define me. Neither should her past define her. If you want to call her a gold digger, fine. But she's digging through the walls I built around my heart, and I hope she never stops." The press was stunned. The smear campaign collapsed. Privately, Nathan found the source. It traced back to Kevin. Nathan didn't press charges. He didn't need to. He bought the company Kevin applied to next, and sent a rejection letter with a single word: karma. The proposal. With the storm quieted, Nathan and Eva returned to their peaceful rhythm. But something had changed. Eva saw how fiercely Nathan loved. And Nathan saw how resilient Eva could be. One quiet Sunday, Nathan took Eva to the first building she designed, a simple orphanage she'd drawn plans for in college. It had since been funded anonymously and built. "I thought they scrapped these plans," she whispered as they stood before it. "They didn't," he replied. "I bought the land 2 years ago. I just never told you because I didn't know if I'd ever meet someone worth showing it to." Inside, the children rushed toward them, laughing, hugging, calling her Miss Eva. She wept openly. Nathan waited until the sun dipped low and the kids had gone to bed. Then he took her hand, led her to the garden, and got down on one knee. "I started this journey pretending to be someone I wasn't. But standing here now, I've never been more myself. You saw the man under the suit behind the billions. Will you marry me, Eva Rodriguez?" Her breath caught. Then she nodded, whispering, "Yes." The children clapped from the windows. The wedding of the year. The media called it the most beautiful wedding of the decade. Not because of the guest list, though the guest list had presidents, actors, and philanthropists. Not because of the venue, though it was a cliffside mansion overlooking the Pacific. But because of what everyone saw in Eva's eyes as she walked down the aisle. Love. Real love. Her dress was simple, ivory with lace sleeves. She walked barefoot. At her request, there were no golden arches or champagne fountains. Just family, friends, and love. Nathan cried the moment he saw her. They exchanged vows handwritten on coffee-stained paper. "You made me believe in second chances," Nathan said. "You reminded me that truth matters more than wealth." And you, Eva replied, proved that even in a world full of masks, someone brave enough to be vulnerable can still win the greatest prize, love. They kissed beneath rose petals. That night they danced barefoot in the rain. After the fairy tale. Marriage was not a fairy tale. There were arguments. Days Nathan worked too long. Times Eva felt overwhelmed by her new status. But they always came back to each other. Nathan created a scholarship in Eva's grandmother's name. Eva started an NGO that rebuilt communities with ethical architecture. They lived in a modest house in Malibu, not the Kingston estate. They raised 2 children. They drank morning coffee on their porch with 2 sugars, no cream. Years later, when Arthur Kingston passed, his final words were, "You didn't just save the company, son. You saved your soul." And that legacy, more than billions, was what Nathan and Eva would pass to their children. A legacy of love. 10 years later, the sound of children's laughter filled the Malibu beach house as Eva chased after little Ari, their 5-year-old daughter, with a towel in hand. Her curls were a smaller version of her mother's, bouncing wildly as she shrieked with joy. Behind them, 7-year-old Lucas built a sandcastle fortress, brows furrowed in concentration, just like his father when he read spreadsheets. Nathan stood by the porch railing, sipping coffee and smiling quietly at the sight. The life he once thought unreachable was now his everyday reality. Not because he'd worked for it with money, but because he had fought for it with truth, humility, and love. As Eva sat beside him on the porch, she leaned into his shoulder. "Do you ever miss the suits and boardrooms?" He chuckled. "Only when our daughter tries to flush her glitter dolls down the toilet." They both laughed. Nathan had handed over the Kingston empire to a trusted executive board 5 years prior. He remained chairman but refused the daily grind. Instead, he taught ethical business practices at a local college and mentored struggling young entrepreneurs. Eva, now a respected architect and humanitarian, had transformed her small NGO into a global movement. Together they built not just homes but hope. And each home bore a small brass plate. "Love built this." Their relationship wasn't perfect. Some days brought old insecurities, new challenges, but they faced them the same way they began. Honestly. One evening, after the kids had fallen asleep, Nathan brought out a weathered envelope. "I've been saving this for our 10th anniversary," he said. Eva opened it gently. Inside was the security badge Nathan had worn the first day they met. Her eyes softened. "You kept it." "I did. To remind me who I was when I found you." She touched the plastic badge, now cracked and faded. "And who are you now?" He leaned in, kissed her forehead and whispered, "Yours." They sat there for a long time, holding each other beneath the stars, no words needed. Because some love stories don't fade with the last kiss of the wedding day. Some stories grow richer with every wrinkle, every scar, every sacrifice. Dear viewers, as we wrap up this heartfelt story, I want to leave you with a simple truth. Sometimes the most beautiful things in life happen when we strip away appearances and let our true selves be seen. Nathan found love not through wealth, but through character. And Eva, she chose the man, not the mansion. Now I want to hear from you. Glowing Star, what part of this story touched your heart the most? Glowing Star, what lesson did you personally take away from it? Glowing Star, have you ever met someone who surprised you by who they were behind the scenes? Backhand index pointing down, drop your thoughts in the comments below. I love reading them, and your perspective might inspire someone else watching too. If this story moved you, don't forget to white heavy check mark like this video to show your support. White heavy check mark share it with someone who needs a reminder that real love still exists. White heavy check mark subscribe to this channel for more powerful, emotional, and inspiring stories like this. White heavy check mark and tap the bell notification bell so you don't miss the next episode. Thank you for watching. Remember, your own love story might be unfolding right now in the most unexpected way. See you in the next one. Sparkling heart. And theirs was one of them.